Well, hey, book lovers, welcome back to another of our live book cover creations. This week, I am so hyped for this cover. It's going to be amazing. We're talking warrior princess who has just been in battle. She is rushing off to destroy the enemy nation. There's going to be fire. There's going to be red skies and lights and just, oh, it's amazing. And I can't wait to dive into it. So what you need to know is today we're working with Photoshop CC. We are using Ebooks Intuos Pro editing tablet, which I highly recommend. Best thing to save my neck and my shoulders and my back and my hands and my wrists and my elbows and like all the things. Essential for anybody who uses a computer in any capacity. And we are going to be using blue light blocking glasses so we don't damage my eyes while we are live on air. You guys get to help me make decisions. You will be able to help me vote on what she's wearing, how she's going to look, what the sky's going to be like, all the things. So let's go ahead. Let's dive in. And if you're joining me right now, please let me know who you are and where you're from and what your favorite book genre is to read. I am pulling up my Photoshop and I'm moving it over so I can see those comments come in, and I'm super excited. So let's go ahead and let's do this. The first thing we're going to do is I'm going to show you the girl that we're working with. Look at that. Look at that. She is this warrior princess Viking-y type thing. We're going to build out her dress. We're going to fix up some of the things on here, and we are going to create this epic look to her. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to use my quick selection tool, and it is just going to get most of her picked up right there, not quite all of it, so we will have to go in and fix it up. It didn't get that one section because that is kind of dark. So when you use that that selection tool that uses its capabilities to decide where it is going to do, sometimes it doesn't always work properly, so you have to go in and you have to lasso it yourself. So I am just drawing around her fingers here. I'm going to grab that wrist. Anything that's in the dark shadows did not really get picked up very well. So we are just refining this edge just a little bit, and I'm just kind of working my way around part of that sword. I'm not super intentional about this because I'm going to clean this up in a minute, but I just want to get kind of the main parts of this, as I can see that it has clearly missed some of those main parts. You're just jumping in. Hey, Eve, 15, and from Wales. Oh, nice. I'm so glad that you're here. I'm glad that you are joining us today. Is this your first time on the cover designs? I feel like it's the first time that I've seen you here on the cover designs, although we do get lots of people chatting, so sometimes I miss that. But I'm super glad that you're here. And I want you to start thinking of potential titles for our little warrior princess book here. I'm really excited for this. She's clearly been in battle. So start thinking of maybe a storyline that could go with this, as I am just cutting her out from our background. That I'm going to say is close enough, and I'm just going to put a layer mask over that. So the layer mask just removes that background. So now that I've got her mostly cut out, I'm just kind of looking for any areas that are fuzzy or have a halo around them. So any area that's pixelated, I'm just coming in with a hard round brush on 100% opacity, black, because black takes things away, white adds things back in Photoshop. And I am just refining that edge. So you can kind of see around her wrist a little bit. We've got some halo effect going on. And I'm not going to be too worried about this just yet, because it's going to look a little different once we have her on a background, which we're going to build out in just a minute. So I'm just looking for anything that's super noticeable right now. I'm not actually worried about her hair. You can see how that's kind of pixelated. I'm just going to kind of leave that there. We're going to work on that in just a minute. First time that you've been on YouTube here. Oh, I am so excited that you're here. I love when people jump on my live streams and chat with me. Now, the first thing I for sure want to do is I want to fix her top because it's a little poorly fitted. And I don't want to keep going without fixing this. So I'm going to come in here. I'm just going to use that lasso tool, and I'm going to grab part of this fabric, and I am just going to copy that layer. And then I am just going to drag that up and reposition. Really? That's the game we're playing? Okay, I see how it is. Let me try that one more time. I'm going to grab my selection tool, and I'm just going to grab that particular layer of fabric, and then I am going to just click copy. Now we're talking. We're better. And I'm just going to build this up just a little bit because I really didn't like how low that was. That didn't make a ton of sense for this character. And we're just going to use the spot heal tool And I'm just going to change some of the fabric so that it does not necessarily look identical to the other. Ooh, that is not working for me. I'm actually going to use the clone tool. So I'm going to grab my clone tool and I am just going to hold my option button down and I'm just going to change up a little bit of how this looks so that it's not exactly the same as the layer I just used it from. So you can kind of see, and I can even put some of that bloodied gauze over here in other sections too. There we go. Now that's starting to look a little bit better. I like how this is working. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put both of those layers inside of a folder and I'm going to attach that together. Let me pull back so you guys can see what we're working with here. So we've got our really cool, you are welcome that I did that. I wanted to get that fixed. That was a little much. So we've got this really cool kind of like magically being type person. I can see her being like a warrior princess, and I'm just going to pull back. Our next step is actually going to be to build out the rest of her outfit. So we're going to build out her skirt. So I have created, I pulled some different objects. I pulled different variations that I actually didn't like. There we go. That's better. And so now I'm just going to, obviously this is going to be really bright and doesn't fit her properly. So we're going to come in, we're going to do a little editing. And then I've got some pieces of kind of like, not quite gauze, not quite like muslin, but you can kind of see it's going to look a little bit more like her top. So I need to back up a little bit. Hang on. There we go. I am just kind of fitting this to her a little bit better. And I think I actually have to make it just a tiny bit bigger, and then we'll shave off some of the outside edge. But we're just fitting that waistline right along her hips there. Again, I'm still making it a little bit bigger. We can actually extend her abdomen as well if we need to. There we go. I think that's probably good. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to zoom in and really see how that looks. And we're going to have to change like the brightness and the darkness of things. But you can kind of see where that's already starting to sit and it's starting to fit a little bit better. And we'll blend it in a minute. So right now I am just refining that edge because this was from another photo, which means it had somebody else's waist in it. So we're going to fix this up. And we're just going to take that pixelated halo look away from this. And we're just, with clean sweeping lines, we are just getting rid of that outside pixelation. And I don't want this to be like a fluffy skirt because obviously our warrior princess queen, wonderful magician lady, whatever we're thinking of her as, she is not going to want to run in with like a big old ball gown to destroy an enemy nation. Am I right? So we're going to kind of make more of a tight form fitting look. And you can kind of see how that's already started to balance out with the way that her hips are turned, the way that her stomach is angled, and the way that all of that kind of looks. But we've got this really like dirty, grungy look up here. And we've got like very clean lines down here, which we don't want. So the next step, aside from moving my water out of my way, is to actually play with our coloring. So I'm going to come into a brightness and contrast panel, and I'm going to use a clipping mask just to attach it to that layer so it doesn't mess with any other layers. And the first step is to drag that brightness way down, and we're going to drag the contrast way up. Now I kind of want to make sure that that's balanced light-wise, so I'm going to back up just a little bit. I'm just figuring out what I need to do to kind of align that a little bit better. That's not terrible, but I do want more contrast in it. I'm going to add another contrast panel and again use the clipping mask to that skirt layer, and I'm going to bump up my contrast. There we go. That's a little bit better. Now this is too intense with this saturation, so I am also going to be adding in, I can either do the hue and saturation level or I can do a black and white layer. I'm just going to go with my hue and saturation. I'm just going to pull my saturation down, and I actually need to use my clipping mask so that I don't do all of it. And I'm just kind of pulling it away. There we go. So now it kind of blends a little bit better with her, and we're going to have to do some coloring work in a minute. Don't worry about it. We're going to get to that in a minute. But we for sure need to do our background before we do anything else. And don't forget, I still have that material we're going to put on top of the skirt. For now, we just wanted the basic structure. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to loop all this into one folder. I'm going to label it girl so I don't lose it. And then we're going to start filling in the background. Is this a cover that I have am I making for a book that's already written, or am I making the cover as inspiration? So all the covers I do in these live cover streams are up for sale. They are pre-made covers, and if an author or a publisher is watching live, they can buy it on air for only $100. This is at least half off or more. This is going to be one of the more intense covers, so this is actually going to be a lot more expensive once it goes to coveraday.com. But if somebody is online and they buy it right now, they can use it for their book, and it's only $100. Otherwise, it goes to coveraday.com, and they can buy it over there for probably $300 or $400 for this particular cover when I am all done with the layers. And our next step, it's going to be good. So I have lots of options. Let me show you what we're working with today. We've got the dark kind of, oh no, don't do that. We have the dark kind of like reddish skies. Ooh, you guys, look at what we're going to do. We have that. This one's not my favorite. I've also got this one. Again, this is not, no, moving things I shouldn't be moving. This is probably not the one I'm going to go with, but we have this option. So I'm looking more for the reds in the background. Oh no, those were my skies. Those were my skies. But before we pick which skies we're going to be using, we are going to do some cool stuff more along the lines of the ground and the background. So check this one out. I'm so excited for this. I haven't seen this with this model yet, so let's see how this looks. This is the mountains on fire. Oh my gosh, you guys. So we're going to have to build that out, but that may be the thing. Holy snap. Do you like that? I love that. I've also got fire on the ground, which we might add into there. And then I've got things like potential, oops, wrong way. I've got things like potential rock formations we can be using. I've got things like fireworks for the background. I've got different things that we can be using for our ground. Although I think between the fire and the mountains on fire, I think we are in business. Hey, Haley, thanks for joining. We're making a cover, and you guys get to make decisions. So, do you love the mountains on fire? I do. I love that. I love that with a passion. I am so excited for that. And I don't even want to change a dang thing. I'm going to change the sky in the background. And as you can see, it doesn't go all the way up to the top of the book cover. It only goes to part of the frame. So we're going to have to build that out. And I think we're going to put some fire, like scorched earth things down at the bottom. But hot dang. This is not for a book that's been written yet. This is a pre-made cover, Haley. And so authors and publishers can buy it while I'm on air designing it for $100. But you get to pick a fake title. So start thinking of a title, because you get to pick the fake title for this pre-made cover before the end of this live stream. Okay, so here we go. We've got this. I'm going to actually grab that scorched earth fire on the ground type thing. And I am actually going to put a layer mask on that, and I'm going to paint away some of that. So I'm going to grab a soft brown brush, 100% opacity black, and I am just going to paint away from the top, because I really just want to focus very strongly on the fire on the bottom there, and you can already see how that's starting to look. Now you can very clearly see the lines. We're going to take care of it in a minute. Don't worry, don't stress. But I am just starting to kind of like place this where I think this is going to look interesting. Okay. So at that point, I have to get rid of that sideline. That's not a good thing. So we're just going to remove this a little bit. But I really like how that looked there. So I'm going to add some fire in just a minute. I'm going to just toggle this on and off so I can see where the lines are and where I need to get rid of specific things. So I'm just, there we go. Just getting rid of certain things that I don't want. And I actually think I want some of this scorched earth fiery type vibes in multiple. Oh, okay, that wasn't what I intended to do, but I like how it looks. So I am just going to erase the parts that I didn't want. Erasing everything that I didn't want and leaving it right there. Oh my gosh, you guys, this is incredible. I'm just erasing part of this. And actually, you know what I could do? Let me go into my files, because I actually want to grab some fire now. Let me see where those are. Here we go. Over in the bottom left-hand corner, I'm going to add in some fiery vibes. So let me go ahead. I'm going to drag this baby in. I am going to switch my blend mode to screen, and then I'm going to go into edit, transform down to flip vertical. I had to think about that for a second. And you can see how that's already starting to kind of like fill in here. That one section's too bright, so I'm just going to kind of move it in the corner. There we go. Look at that. So then I'm just going to put the layer mask on it, and I'm just going to erase the lines where I don't want them over the mountains so that we are good to go with that. Oh, man. Oh, man. Fire Queen Princess. Ooh, keep coming with the title ideas. I love it. Frequently, we have a bunch of people like say their titles and then we piece pieces of them together. Oh, well, that was English. We take different pieces of them and we stick them together to form a really cool title. So come in with all the title ideas. I'm loving, what was it? Fire Queen, Fire Princess. I like it. Keep coming, keep coming. We can actually do some cool things with our title based off of this as well, but we're not done yet. So here we go. We got this so far. She is going to be holding some magic. We're going to get to that in a minute. We're going to build out her skirt in a minute. We're going to add some like gauzy type overlays, but before we go any further, I want to handle that sky. That needs to be changed. And then we might need to illuminate our girl a little bit. You guys want to get glowy with me today? We are going to come in and I am going to find my layer with my mountainy things up here. And I am just going to use my quick selection tool and I'm just going to, nope, why are we doing that? Y'all, what is that? What is that? Hang tight. There we go. We got the right spot. So I just want to get rid of that corner of the sky. That's not what I like. So I highlighted that because it's easier than trying to get all the mountains and the fire and the stuff. And then I'm just going to go into select and I'm going to click on inverse. And now all of a sudden it did the work for me. Thank you. And I'm just going to add a layer mask to it. And you can see that that removed the sky. That was just gone. We don't need to worry about that. It's all good. Now, I know you can't see it because of the frame, but the mountain area ends right before the frame begins up at the top. So I'm going to have to build up the sky anyway. So then my next step is to grab one of those skies. So we're probably going to go with that one. That makes more sense. Definitely that one. And I'm going to drag this down beneath that layer. Whoa, you guys, I didn't even have to do anything. Like, look at that. I'm just going to move this. I duplicated the layer because I like how it looks now, but I just want to see what I can do when I move things. Whoa, 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 whoa. Dang, you guys. And I can turn that into a moon. Okay, who wants to play this game? We might be doing this. I'm excited for this. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add a layer mask, and I'm just going to tap off the corner so that it blends that in. And I actually, yep, I'm just moving some of this to highlight those mountains a little bit, which I like. There we go. So now I'm going to duplicate this layer again, and I am just going to bring it over to fill in the back side of this as well. And I'm just kind of like, I'm just moving things to see where I might potentially like them, because I have to blend things in. There we go. Because I just want a little bit of color there. So I'm just going to then add my layer mask and just take off the darkness over here. And then the only thing I have left to do is to remove this harsh line here along my mountains to blend that in. So I'm just lowering my opacity and I'm just kind of painting in some of that right there. Okay. Hot dang, you guys, look at how cool this looks. I'm so excited and so impressed by this. The only thing that I may want to do with my mountains is, do you see that bright spot on the spine? I think I want to move that over a little bit. So I'm actually going to grab my lasso tool and I'm just going to grab a section, like a very wide section. And making sure I'm on the photo and not the layer mask, I'm just going to duplicate that and say copy. And then I'm just going to drag this over a little bit. And that, I kind of like how that's glowy around there. So I'm just going to add a layer mask, and then on 100% opacity black, not that 100%. There we go. I'm just painting away the harsh edge. So you can kind of see how I brought that over a little bit. That looks pretty cool. And then if I just want to make it look a little bit less cloned, all I would do is pick one of those ways, and I'm just going to use either the spot heal tool or the clone tool. And I am just going to swipe at it a little bit, and it's just going to change some of the texture of it. So now all of a sudden it's no longer looking like it's cloned. It's looking like it's its own unique space of fire, which is pretty cool. Ooh, escaping flames, escaping ash. Look at you go, Haley. Haley, you may need to stick around with me because I sometimes I have people who hang out with me who are just like on top of the name game, and those people have not been showing up to my recent live stream. So you might be hired, Haley. You might need to stick around and hang out with me. Before I go any further, I am going to hit the save button on this baby so that nothing happens to it. But that does mean I'm going to have to pause for just a second while it saves. My next step is going to be to work on my lighting, and it is going to be to add in some of that magic, and we want to make sure her sword is really, really strongly sticking out on this. So my next thing is going to be, I'm going to scroll up to my layer with my girl. I'm going to grab a brightness and contrast panel and clipping mask that right onto that folder, and I'm just going to start bumping up her light a little bit and her contrast to blend her in just a touch to this setting, and then overall we're going to do a brightness contrast panel to really blend that in. Okay, my next step is definitely going to be to add in the magic she's holding, and we want to highlight that sword a little bit better. Then we're going to have to work on our coloring because we've got that color cast on her body. If you can see, it's got that red glow. So we have to create a red light source, and then we also have to extend that to her skirt. And of course, we're building out the skirt as well. So my next step is going to be to go into my files here, and I am just going to look for the flares that I want for this. You guys know I love my orange flares, so I'm just like glancing now to see what's going to be a good fit for this. I think this one's going to be what I want. So let's go ahead and try this, and we're just going to make her hand kind of glow. I'm just going to bring this back right here, and we're going to make it a little bit smaller because I don't necessarily want it. Oh, there we go. So all of a sudden, we've kind of illuminated her hand a little bit. I like this. This is good. I think I want a little bit of kind of like a magical-y type look. So I'm just looking for some kind of like glittery, swirly things. And we'll see how that looks. It's either going to be epic or it's going to majorly fail. There's no in between on this one. So let's see how it goes. And I'm just making that smaller. This could be an epic fail. It might be. Yeah, I'm not loving that. Let me try one or two more. We'll see how it goes. If it doesn't work, then it doesn't work, and that's okay. We'll just move on from it. There's no harm in trying things and seeing if it works. So I'm just kind of, this is a bit of a blob. Let's try the blob. We'll see if the blob works. There's different versions of this we can do, but I'm almost thinking the blobby look is too like, yeah, I added that. Okay, let me look for a less intense one. I'm looking for something that's just like light and fluffy is what I'm looking for. Not that we're looking for fluffy, but we're looking for something that's a little more airy, has a little more space in it. And so I'm just kind of going over this a little bit to kind of see. I don't think this is it, but I kind of want to see what this, oh, it might be. This might be what I'm looking for. Oh, if it wasn't so round. Maybe I can do this in sections. Let's try it. I'm going to erase part of it. I'm going to duplicate it, remove that. And I am going to, yeah, that's a little bit better. And just erase part of that as well. Okay, that's a little bit better. That is a little bit better. All the fun things. Hey, I love following you guys on TikTok. It is so much fun to see the content that you're creating. So I do appreciate y'all coming out from TikTok and hanging out with me as well. And I am just filling in some of this as well. If you guys have like questions or you want to chat about things, feel free to let me know. I will happily answer questions while we're here hanging out as I'm just adding in some of this glittery look to what we're doing. And I think that's a little intense, so I'm going to back that up just a little bit. But you can kind of see how the glow is working in our favor, man. That's working in our favor. I like it. Okay, so now that I kind of have her glow created a little bit, I want to work on that sword. So I am going to bounce back over to my flares, and we're going to start adding in some flary goodness behind this, but nothing too intense. We just want a little bit of a pop. This could potentially work. This could potentially work, or it could look really weird. Oh, it's not the one I thought it was. Let me try it anyway. We'll see if it works. We'll just kind of make this smaller. I'll just bring this behind the sword a little bit. No, not the one that I like. Let me try that again. And I'm just looking. I have one that is like an orange and a yellow combined, and I'm just... Oh, I've got a red one. Let me try the red one, see if that works. We need to work red in anyway because she's got that red glow to her. Now you can see how the lines are like super harsh here. We don't like super harsh lines. So we are going to go up to filter, down to blur, down to Gaussian blur, and we're just going to bump up our radius by a lot. Because we just want it to be kind of like flary here. We don't want it to be like lines and stuff. And you can see how already that has improved it dramatically. Ooh, Phoenix of Fire, Burning Ash, Fallen Fire. You guys are slaying it with these titles. I'm so excited that you guys are here. I love when people are here and like talk to me through the whole live streams. It just makes my day. Y'all, it has been a stressful day with everything going on, and you guys are just making it so much better. Thank you. I appreciate you. I'm going to continue to look for another flare because I think I want just a little bit up toward the top. Oh, this could potentially work. This might be a little bit different. And I'm just going to go and change my blend mode to screen. And I'm going to make it smaller. And I'm just going to kind of put it up toward the top here. And we are, because we don't want it to be like magical wand. We don't want that. We are just going to kind of, I may even need to make that bigger. Because right now that's looking a little bit on the, what happened? There we go. It's looking a little bit of like, oh, what is she doing with that magic over there? Don't particularly like that. I don't particularly like that one. But I know what I can do. Let's try this. I've got an idea. I get a little loud. Sorry, y'all. I am going to grab some more of those like embery type things. And I am just going to change that to screen. And look at that. That highlights the sword a little bit better. And I'm going to get rid of almost everything else. So I'm just going to put a layer mask over it. I'm going to use Command-I on a Mac to invert it. And then I can just use my white soft round brush, 100% opacity, to paint in some layers with more color. Oh. I'm just being selective about where I put it. But look, it illuminated it. I love it. I do like this. This is fun. Okay. So we've got our sword there. We've got the magic going on with her hand. We do have that red light source, so we need to get that handled. I got to have a red light source over to the side, or it doesn't make sense for it to glow on her, and then we have to fix the skirt as well. Keep the title ideas coming. We're going to continue on with this. I'm just looking for a red-based flare right now. I'm going to get back to that in just a second. And then I just want to figure out which one I actually want. Oh, I do want to use that one at some point. Okay. I see what I'm doing. I do want to try this one. This is my favorite flare. I love this flare. I use this every chance I get because it's so dang pretty. But I don't think it's the right one for this. Oh, that's sad. I always get so sad when I can't use that one. So I will try the actual red ones. I will pull that out and we will go ahead and we will get that added in. So I've got this red one and I've got another red one as well. I'm just going to go ahead and switch that over to screen. And I just kind of want this a little bit higher. And again, we don't want those like sharp lines there. So we're going to go into filter, down to blur, down to Gaussian blur, and we are going to pump that up. And we don't want to get rid of as much as we did last time. We want it to definitely be there and be recognizable as a red sourced light. So we're going to remove that just a little bit. And we are going to, that was definitely a fuzz flying through the air, and I caught that and moved that. So don't judge me for that one. But I like how that looks. We've got the lighting coming in, which is really nice. So then the next thing that I have to do, I actually have to kind of paint this red look onto her skirt as well. And I'm going to need to finish the skirt. I was reading your comments, sorry. So things that I have as potential options that I'm not even sure I want now because I kind of like that. I'm just going to pull these up. I've got like some gauzy pieces. So with this, I could like pull out like this potential section right here. And you can kind of see how it just picked up some pieces. And it doesn't have to be real like straight with this because it's fabric and fabric moves in wonderful ways. And so I can just kind of like piece this together and add in some like gauzy-ish type look to this. Oh, that's actually not bad. So what I would do then is I would actually put a layer mask over it, or well, it has a layer mask. I grabbed it and put a layer mask on it. And I am going to use my brush. Apparently I'm gonna botch that a little bit. I am going to, there we go. I am going to just paint away anything that doesn't work, like officially doesn't work. And I'm gonna zoom in a little bit so I can see this a touch better. And I'm just going to make sure like fabric can go in all sorts of different ways. Fabric doesn't have to be like super straight. And we are just going to switch our brushes from a hard round brush to a soft round brush. And I'm just going to tap it away from that waistband, that line there. And then I am just, oh, I didn't like that. That was too much. I'm just going to kind of fade it into it. Now, obviously, this is like a white-based linen-y type look here, which we don't necessarily want. So I am going to be changing the coloring on this. There's a couple of ways that we can be doing this. So I can do a color overlay. I can change it inside of my curves panel, which could be potentially helpful to us on this one. And I am just refining my edge just a little bit. Just a little bit. So then I'm going to go in, I think what I want to try first is to actually change up the curves panel. So I'm going to grab a curves panel, and I'm just going to use the clipping mask. I'm going to go into, out of the RGB mode into the blue mode. And if I slide to the left at the top, I make it blue. And if I go down, then I'm going to make it more of a yellow color. So I'm just going to kind of balance it a little bit as we are kind of playing with some of this. And sometimes it really just comes down to it working, maybe it not working. I can actually go into like the green part of the panel, and I can pull that where I want it, get rid of some of those greens, get more in the reds. I'm going to go in the red side of the panel. I want to take it away from the blues, but not that red. Okay. So then I'm actually going to grab my brightness and contrast panel, and I'm going to clipping mask that to it. I'm going to pull down a little bit on the, oh, that's a little better. Pulling down on the brightness, adding in the contrast. And so we've got those two different layers of fabrics there, which I think I kind of like. And we've got the lighter and the darker. So what do you guys think? Do we like the lighter and the darker? It kind of goes with the top up there. We could potentially add in, and I almost think that I may need to desaturate that skirt a little bit more on the other side. So I'm actually going to add in a blank layer. Use my clipping mask. I'm going to grab a black coloring, and I am just going to paint over this skirt a little bit, but just that section. And then I'm going to change my blend mode down to color, and you can see how it removed all the color, and then I'm going to back off the opacity. So I don't want to take away all the tan. I just want to take away some of the tan. So I'm going to turn this on and off so you can kind of see how I went from warm to more of a cool tone. And maybe I actually do want that warmer tone. Maybe I do. Okay. Maybe I do. The only thing I think I want to do is actually bump up what I'm doing on the gauze where it is attached. So just up at the top here, I'm just tweaking that line a little bit. And I think I may actually make that more of a gentle edge. Just in that. Nope, don't like that. Back. There we go. There we go. Wow, you guys are coming up with the names. Okay. I like it. Ooh. I see a thing that I could potentially do, and I don't know if I want to do it. I think I'm gonna maybe not do that particular thing. So the next step is going to be to add the red highlights to our skirt. So I'm going to go ahead and I am going to put all the layers of our girl into one folder, and I'm going to label that. This will get me yelled at for nesting things, but it's okay. And I'm just going to add in a layer, and then I'm going to use my color picker tool, and I'm just going to grab that red from the top of her, like her gauzy top there. And I am just, with a big round brush, 100% opacity, I am just going to draw around the edge of that skirt. And then I'm going to use a clipping mask to attach it to the skirt so you can kind of see where it's falling. And at that point, I can change my blend mode so that it makes sense with what we're doing. So we're just going to looking over some of these things. Ooh. And I'm just seeing which blend mode is going to work. We also have the capacity of just turning down the opacity on certain things. I'm still going through this. Hang on. I'm just like looking to see which is going to work best. I think almost overlay is probably going to be where I need to be on this one. That makes more sense. And I'm just going to, on a low opacity brush, I am just going to actually dab it off in certain areas because it doesn't need to go all the way to the ground or quite as in-depth as I did it. And then I think I may actually add a darker layer just to part of this to kind of blend it in just a little bit. So we're just blending. There we go. That looks a little bit better. So let me back off and see how this is looking. Not too shabby. Do I like that? I know what I have to do. Sometimes you have to like figure out how to blend them into the scene a little bit differently than you had originally thought. So I'm just going to add in some sparkle. And so I am going to add in some fiery, embery looks here. And I'm just going to move it down here and just kind of put it where I want it over top of the dress so that it makes sense. Yeah, that looks a little bit better. So then, before I do anything else, my next step is going to be to add a bottom dark layer. So I'm just going to use my gradient tool on 100% opacity. We are going to do color over transparent, and we're going to do linear for this one. And I'm just going to hold the shift key down so it's a nice straight line, and I'm just going to kind of blend that in. So real quick, let me just turn the frame on and off so you can kind of see what that's looking like. Nice, nice. We've definitely grounded it. I do want to add in a little bit here of grounding. So I'm going to change from the radial or from the linear tool to the radial tool. And if you look at the sides, you look at the left side right now, I'm adding in little pops of darkness to help blend this in a little bit. Now look over at the right side. I'm just adding in little pops of darkness right along the edge to kind of ground this look just a little bit. I'm now up at the top. I'm just adding in just parts of this, but not a ton. And I'm just grounding this image a little bit. Okay. All right. I'm feeling this. I am vibing off of this. Our next step is definitely to get our title in here. So I think I am, oh, you know what I didn't do that I need to do? It's really important for me to do this here. I am going to change that sun to a moon, I think. So let me go ahead. I'm going to pull up my moon. I shot this super moon back in, gosh, when was it? 2012, 2013-ish. And I use it for all my moons because it's the best thing ever. And I'm just searching for the correct layer here. And I don't know where it is. Where's my layer? Oh, here it is. I got it. We're good. I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to grab my moon. I'm going to make my moon smaller. I am going to change my blend mode to screen. And then I am going to kind of change, oh, well, because it's so light behind it, it takes away from part of it. So that means I am actually going to change my blend mode back. And I am just going to remove the black background. And you can see how that's kind of in there. I'm going to lighten it in just a minute. But I do need to take away part of it. So I am going to, on a soft round brush, 100% opacity. I'm not on 100% opacity. That is a problem. 100% opacity. Thank you. I am just removing that hard black line around it. Just removing part of that. And then what I'm going to do is just reduce the opacity because I want to see the craters here. So you can see how I've got the craters, but I have not lost the intensity of that sun behind it. So I'm just finding the balance there. And look how cool that looks, you guys. That's so cool. Now, the other thing we can do here, if we really wanted, I can add some stars in. So I'm just going to see how this looks. We're going to see how this is working for us. I'm going to change my brush to white. And I'm going to go into my brush panel, which I don't think I loaded yet. So I actually have to pull up my brushes and add those in. It's going to take just a second for those babies to load. I am going to wait for the spinning colored wheel, and it is just going to add those in. And I'm just going to then be able to go down through the brushes that I need, and I'm going to add my debris brush. My debris brush is the most amazing thing ever. I'm on 100% opacity. Very, very small. I can add in some stars to the sky if I wanted. Obviously, stars are not going to be in front of clouds, so I put some in front of clouds. We're going to have to fix that. But I am definitely adding in some stars to the background here. There we go. So then I'm just going to erase it in front of the clouds because we're not being weird about this. And look at how cool that is. They're a little bit bright, a little bit obnoxious, so I'm just backing that up a little bit, but you can see them in the sky. Oh, pretty, pretty. I love it. Oh, you guys, with the good titles, I love it. Okay, so now we need to work on our title. Let's do this, friends. I'm going to move the author name up to the top. Oh, dang. And I am going to work on the font first. So I'm just going to see what fonts we have. Fantasy covers usually have more of like a scripty type font. So I am just looking for things that are more along the lines of like swirly and fancy. There are some staple ones that we can fall back on if we need to, but fonts always take the longest. So you have to make sure you have the right genre font, because if you don't, people aren't going to be able to recognize the book, and it will kill book sales. So you've got to be so, so careful with how you are doing fonts on books. They're the #1 giveaway of people creating book covers on their own and not hiring a professional. So I am just looking for something that's going to fit nicely. Oh, that could potentially be an option. Potentially. Let me just see how that looks. I'm going to make it a little bit bigger. That could potentially work. I'm going to leave that there for now. I am going to go into the effects on this because right now it's a little muddled with the background, the black behind it. And I'm going to leave that right there. We're going to go ahead and we're going to write the title, and then we can change the author or the font if we need to. So I'm going to duplicate that layer. Every word in our title goes on a different layer so that we can make sure that it stands out. And we can change things and move things as we need to without having to redo everything. I'm seeing things about flames and burning. Hunting fire. Oh, you guys. I feel like I can pull some of this for like a tagline and for a title. Oh man. What if we do the fire that hunts? Oh, let's see if we can do it. And again, we're going to put these on different layers. The fire. And we're going to change the size of these babies in just a minute. Oops, if extra panels stop popping up. I'm going to say that. And we're going to grab hunts. I'm not loving this font. We're going to find something else. But you can kind of see how this is starting to play out. So let me go ahead. Let me keep looking for a better font for this one. We're just going to pull that up. And I'm just going to scroll through the fonts real fast to see what we can find. And we're going to do something really cool. Let's see. Oh, that could be good. Okay. Let me try this. That hunts with an S on the end would be good, KM. Let's go ahead. Okay. Before I do more of the title, I do want to come up and turn my guidelines back on, because you cannot put them out or inside of the guidelines because they will get cut off when they are printed at the printer. So you have to keep them inside the guidelines or you do get yelled at. It's a real true thing. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to change the fonts on these. So, oh man, it didn't hold it the way it was supposed to. Okay, I got it. I had to go look up what I had just used. And I am just going to add these babies in. Yeah, I think I like this font a lot better. And you can actually mix up fonts. It doesn't always have to be the exact same font for every word. It's totally okay for it to not be. And I am just moving things around. And we're going to build this the way that we need it built. There we go. And now we're going to make the word fire a lot bigger. We're going to make those our keywords here. The fire that haunts. Oh, I like that. And we're just going to kind of piece it together. Just like, I was going to put it, I'm trying to see where I want to put that in because I don't want to mess up the F in fire because it has that fancy little thing there. But I don't want that to be too small either. So I'm just adjusting and resizing to see where I like that. Yeah, that's better. So then I'm going to need to grab the word the, and I'm going to need to bring that up. Oh, you guys, how cool does that look? All I'm saying is that is a good look for this cover. Oh, man. We need to get the flares on here. Hey, Haley, if you're bouncing, come back and watch the end because I'm not done yet. But it was great having you. I'm excited that you were here hanging out today, and we do this every single week as well. I just added a flare in, guys. I'm going to move this flare up so where I can see it. And then I'm going to go into the effects panel, and I am going to change it from a blue to a yellow, like a yellowy orange glow. And you can see how now all of a sudden it's yellow, and I'm just going to start putting it over parts of my title. I almost might want to change that to a red. Let me try a red. Sometimes you just have to try different colors on the glow. You also have to be very careful of glow because if you don't do it right, it doesn't look proper. Oh, this is like an orange glow. Okay, I like the orange. Not bad. I'm going to leave one yellow and one orange. I kind of like the way that looks. I'm going to put a flare up on top of the author's name as well. Somewhere. There we go. That's good. Maybe a second one on the author name. Might be a bit much. Okay. So then the next thing that I'm going to need to do is to actually grab my title. So let me see. That one's up top. So then this one and this one are on the title, which means I can just drop all of those into one folder and label that title. I'm going to duplicate my folder. And I am going to go to Edit, down to Transform, down to Rotate 90 degrees. And I'm going to hit Command-T to transform. And I am going to put our title here. Obviously, this is going to change the way that this is laid out based on how wide the spine is. Usually will be just a solid line down. But for now, I'm fine leaving it like this. I'm going to grab my author name. And I am going to attach that to the flares. And I am going to duplicate that. I'm going to go to Edit, down to Transform, down to 90 degrees clockwise. If you are an author or publisher joining and you have a book that fits this and you want it, right now is your last couple of minutes to buy this cover for only $100. Otherwise, it goes back over to coveraday.com where it will be significantly more expensive than this. I am going to add in a fancy hook line at the back here. I'm just real quick going to duplicate one of these layers. And I'm going to drag that to the back. And I'm just going to write fancy hook line. And if you guys want to see other covers that I have created, just go on over to coveraday.com. We update them regularly with new covers. You can see some of the things that people have bought or commissioned in the past. There's all sorts of fun things there. And I almost think I might want just a little bit more on the back cover. I think I might need some embers or something back there. So let me just real quick, I'm just going to grab one of these, switch that, change that, just a little bit. There we go. Just a little pop on the back cover, and I'm just going to remove part of that. Switch my brush back to my soft brown brush, 100% opacity. And I'm just painting it off where I don't want it. I kind of liked that. So let me just turn it on and off to make sure I don't have any weird, stray, random lines. And I think I'm good. So my last step is going to be to come up above these layers, and I'm just going to grab a brightness and contrast panel. I'm going to start sliding my contrast up. and sliding my brightness up just a little bit. You can kind of see how that looks right now. I am pretty impressed by this. Look how cool this looks. The other thing is, the only other thing that I might think about doing, and I might try this real quick, I may try to make her glowy. So let me look down to my layer with my girl, which I again have to put in a new folder, and I am just going to duplicate this real fast. I am going to create a smart object out of this, and I'm just going to go up to filter. No, I'm not. I'm going to go to layer, down to layer style, down to outer glow. And you can see how that's like a very tight line around her right now. We're going to bump this up. Wow. Okay. And then I will just reduce the opacity on this, but like, look at how it makes her glow. That's nice. Okay. Let me turn that on and off for you so you can see how that actually looks. So we've got our girl, and we've got our girl kind of glowing a little bit. That's pretty dang cool right there. Pretty dang cool. I actually really like that. Look at that. Oh, look at that. You know what? Part of that, though, I don't like. So if I don't like it glowing in a particular place, all I have to do is click the duplicate button, turn off the effect, so she's still there, but then I've got the girl with the glow underneath her, and then I can just take my brush and paint it off of the sword where it looked really weird and I didn't like it. We fixed it. It's all good. It's all good. So there you have it, my friends. This is the final version of The Fire That Hunts. Thank you guys so much for joining me. I am super excited that you are here and you have enjoyed today's live stream. Next week, we'll be creating a new cover live on air. You get to pick the genre. So are we doing fantasy? Are we doing paranormal romance? Are we going to do a dystopian? You know, those are my favorites. Are we going to do like a princess cover? Are we going to do a text heavy cover? What do you want to see? You got to let me know in the comments below, and then come and vote on my Instagram stories every Wednesday. Set your alarm. We're going live next Wednesday at 3 p.m. Eastern to do another book cover where you get to help me make all the fun decisions. Thank you all so much for joining. Coveraday.com for more information on grabbing this cover if you're watching our replay, or any of the other pre-made covers or custom covers that we offer over there as well. I will see you guys tomorrow for lots of fun things here on the Author platform, and Friday for our TikTok Q&A at 3 p.m. Eastern. Until then, I hope you all have a great day and stay inspired. Bye, friends.